Hey, it's Skeletons, and about a couple weeks ago, I took out the time to play and beat the game called Fnaf Security Breach.
Oh, this game fucking sucks!
All jokes aside, if you thought this was another video shitting on Fnaf Security Breach, it's not, because there's already hundreds of YouTube videos already doing that. I decided to take a different approach and dissect the game and find out the reason of why it isn't even scary in the first place. But first, we need to find out not only what made the Fnaf franchise scary, but what makes a horror game scary. What made the Fnaf game scary originally was the anticipation. You knew a jump scare was eventually coming, but you never knew when. And at the same time, depending on how you played, it probably wouldn't come at all. There was a slow build up to the jump scare though, with the tension rising higher and higher when they get close to your office. On the other hand, FNAF Security Breach, it's like they took just the one thing that made FNAF scary and then just went with that, the jump scares. The jump scares isn't what made FNAF scary, it was the build up to the jump scare, which is why none of the jump scares in FNAF Security Breach are even scary. Once you get jump scared more than 2 times, they just become annoying and make you frustrated that you have to start over. It also doesn't help the fact that the staff bots also have jump scares, so by the time you finish the game, you've been completely desensitized to every jump scare and nothing has scared you at all. The whole game is just a get chased by this animatronic, do the objective without getting caught simulator. And not to say the game doesn't have any scary moments in it, probably the scariest moment in the game is to when the animatronics chase you only when you're not looking at them. But even then, that begins to stop being scary because it goes on for way longer than it was supposed to, and it overstays its welcome. And with the level design, some parts you get stuck because you have to look at 5 endoskeletons at once, and then you can't look at them all at the same time, obviously, so you get stuck in a corner and then you just have to end up just dying. But this moment reminded me of another game that I recently played on my channel, Resident Evil Village, the DLC to be exact. In the DLC, there's this part in the game to where there's mannequins that chase you when you don't look at them.
Oh shit! Bitch! Oh.
So then I asked myself, what made that moment in Shadow of Rose so much more scarier than the FNAF version? The mannequins had the exact same mechanics and pretty much look as the endoskeletons in Security Breach. They both had glowing eyes, and they both only charged at you to attack when you are not looking at them. Then I came to the conclusion that it was the environment that made the Resident Evil version more scarier than the FNAF version, which takes me to my second point. One thing I never understand about FNAF Security Breach is that you're a little boy running around a mall after hours when it's closed, but all the lights are still on. Bruh, whoever the owner is of that mall already know their electric bill is high as hell at the end of the month, because as many displays and neon lights they leave on in that bitch 24/7 already know their electric bill is at least a couple hundred bands. But there is a reason why if you walk into a dark dim lit room or drove down a dark road with no street lights, you'll feel a little bit uncomfortable. On the other hand, if you walked into a brightly lit up room with all the lights on, you'll feel pretty much okay. This is because you're not scared of the dark, but you're scared of what lies in the dark, or what you think lies in the dark because of your imagination. But a horror game doesn't need to be lights out, pitch black all the time just to be scary. And just because FNAF Security Breach is so brightly lit up isn't the main reason why it's not scary like everyone thinks it is. It's that, but with the combination of how open it is. The game takes place in a mall, which is very open, and it makes it very easy to outrun and juke the animatronics, which makes them less of a threat. Games like Outlast are scary because they're claustrophobic, and nothing in Security Breach is claustrophobic. The chases in Outlast are scary because they give you anxiety. You're not going to be able to juke the guy that's chasing you so easily like you can in Security Breach because you're in such a closed space. You're going to have to loop them around furniture or backtrack just to escape. Maybe if FNAF Security Breach wasn't as open and it was more claustrophobic, it would be a little bit more scarier. Well, yes and no. Because imagine if you got a shotgun in Outlast that stunned enemies for 10 seconds. Would Outlast still be scary? Well, I will say yeah, because then it'll just probably be just like a Resident Evil game at that point. Now, what if I told you that shotgun had unlimited ammo? Would Outlast still be scary? Probably not. Well, that is FNAF Security Breach. Once you're at the halfway point of the game, you get this item called a Phaser Blaster, and it basically is a gun that stuns the animatronics, or depending on your choices. You could get this camera that does the exact same thing, but you just have to flash it at the animatronics. In my playthrough, I got the camera, which was pretty OP because you could stun multiple animatronics at the same time with one flash, but if you got the gun, you can only stun one at a time. So not only are the animatronics extremely easy to juke, but let's say you just have bad handles and you don't know how to juke, you can shoot them with a gun and stun them? Wait, this is a horror game, right? What exactly do they expect you to be scared of? The player's supposed to be scared of these animatronic things? Look at them. And this is where I get to my next point. The character design for this game sucks if we look at it from a horror perspective. The animatronics look way too friendly, and yes, I know at the end of the day they're made and designed to entertain children, but that is no excuse why they look the way they look. If you look at any other mainline FNAF game, 1 through 6, they all look creepy, and these guys just don't. And if you watching like their character design, there's no problem with that. But when I first saw their designs for this game, it instantly reminded me of the FNAF 2 character's design. And you cannot tell me after looking at Security Breach character design that FNAF 2 character design isn't scary. Just looking into their eyes, you can tell that they look like alive, living robots, like something is actually possessing these things. Security Breach character design looks way too cartoony and I hate it. The Security Breach characters just don't give off that uncanny valley effect, which is when something looks alive or kinda human that doesn't supposed to. Here's an example of that, and this is why all the other mainline FNAF game characters look creepy, because they give off that uncanny valley effect. Security Breach's character design doesn't give off that effect simply because they don't look real. They look way too cartoony, which is the design of the entire game. Stillwood should have went for a more realistic design instead of a cartoony design. Not saying it had to be extreme graphics that look on par with the newest COD game or anything, but I think they went for a more cartoony design instead of realism, because realism takes a lot of work and resources, and I'm gonna assume that was just out of their budget. Also, a couple more smaller things I thought I should mention. The fact that Freddy is a good guy the entire game just really takes out the immersion of this game being scary, and I really thought at the end of the game he was gonna turn evil, like it was gonna be a twist, but there wasn't. Like, he was just good the whole game, helping Gregory. And the fact that there is no like background eerie noise in the game, like there's no spooky noises or music in the background to build up tension for like a jump scare or anything. And before this video, I looked up the soundtrack for this game just to make sure, and if you listen to the soundtrack for this game, you wouldn't even know it's for a horror game. Half the time, the only music you're listening to is the same old dun 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 dun. But yeah, that is the reason why Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach is the worst horror game of all time. Does that mean it's a bad game? Well, we're not even going to talk about all the bugs, glitches, unloaded textures, pop-ins, and frame rate drops, because this video was not made to shit on FNAF Security Breach. It was just to explain why this game isn't even scary in the first place. But thank you for watching. I've been wanting to do more commentary videos just like this on my channel. So if you like this video, don't forget to like this video. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified for when I post my next video, and so you don't miss out on more great content. I do Let's Plays on all type of horror games. Comment down below if you guys want me to play the FNAF Security Breach DLC whenever that comes out, and check out the videos and the playlist that's on the screen now. And that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Matthew Kai is now a furry. FNAF for Dead by Daylight confirmed.